Hello, friends. Welcome into the Cowboys Report presented by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Head to chatsports.com/bet today to get started. We'll start things off with the latest Cowboys rumors. First up, Cedrick Wilson, the rookie out of Boise State. Well, he is indeed done for the year. 4 stars on this one. So much for the report from the Cowboys camp that they thought the injury was minor. He is going on IR. He has a shoulder injury. He needs surgery. He's going to miss the entire season. Ricky June, don't worry too much about him because he's not going to make the roster in the end. He has replaced him on the roster as the latest signing. The bright side is that, yes, it sucks that Wilson gets hurt. The Cowboys could have hoped that he was going to be a potentially player that makes the roster and helps the team out. But on the bright side, it does kind of allow Wilson to be more or less an IR stash. He was competing with Deontay Thompson, Noah Brown, Lance Lenoir even to make the roster. There might not have been space for Cedrick Wilson, so the injury is unfortunate, but it does allow the Cowboys to keep him on the team and kind of have him on IR as they more or less stash him for the season. But his season is indeed over. For those of you watching for the first time, here is our rumor meter. 0 stars, the number of fights that Odell Beckham won against the net. 1 star is a small shred of truth. 2 stars means people are talking firmly in that rumor category. And 3 stars means it's pretty likely, not quite set in stone, but that's the way everyone's leaning. And 4 stars means that Zeke's eaten and it's a fact. Next up, again, on the injury front, Kevon Frazier. When will he return to the Cowboys? Well, 3 stars on this one. It should happen, and it should happen soon, but it's not quite set in stone. Now, Frazier and his camp are very confident he will return, but he will meet with a specialist on Thursday to go over some more information on the blood clotting issue that Frazier currently has. Namely, the blood isn't clotting properly, and if that's the case and he gets cut on the field, there could be some serious problems there. Frazier does expect to return to the team soon, but as of right now, there is no timetable for his return. All right, Cowboys fans, I got BetDSI to hook me up with an exclusive offer with football season nearly here, and here's how you can win a special Cowboys barware set courtesy of BetDSI. Here's what I need you guys to do in order to win this barware set. First up, go to chatsports.com/bet and sign up using promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus. After you do that, send me your screenshot on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney, or if you're watching here on Facebook, DM the Cowboys Facebook page, and then we will pick one lucky winner of those of you who signed up, and we'll send you guys this Cowboys barware set. And then after that, go on to BetDSI, chatsports.com/bet, and win some money. So Frazier's injury news might not be a good one, but the Randy Gregory news, well, this one is a little bit more positive here. He is off the NFI list, 4 stars on this one. Now, he's not going to fully practice in the way that everyone wants him to as of this point, but the good news is for Gregory, he's passed his physical. Not that that was really in doubt at all because he looked in great shape at camp, but he's been removed from the NFI list. He participated in the Cowboys walkthrough today. The Cowboys, though, will continue to play it safe with Randy Gregory. Look, the reality is he's been away from football for a really long time. They want to take things slow. The hope is they can get him on the field for week 1 of the preseason. We'll see if that actually happens, but call this more or less the Randy wrap up. It's going to get him going and get him ready to go for the preseason and then for the regular season after that. We'll get to some more Cowboys rumors here as well, and well, there's always stuff about Earl Thomas, but first I want to know from you guys, how many sacks will Randy Gregory have this year? Again, I will keep the expectations low. Over-under is a generous 4.5. If he gets to 3 or 4, I'll be very happy. If he gets above that, I will be ecstatic, but let's pump the brakes just a little bit on the Randy Gregory hype. All right, next up on our rumors roundup here, Earl Thomas, will he be traded to the Dallas Cowboys? 2 stars on this one. A couple of different reports here. First up from Mike Fisher, who says there is a 51% chance the trade will happen. I think that number very intentional there. More likely than not is the other way to go and phrase that one. But 2 ESPN beat writers, the Cowboys' Todd Archer and the Seahawks' Brady Henderson, both think that Thomas will end up in Dallas. Now, ET is still not at the Seahawks training camp, and the report is he's not really going to show up until the Seahawks give him a new contract, which as of right now, well, that hasn't happened yet. Now, in terms of what a trade could look like, I still think the most likely trade, if one does go down, is a second-round pick. So let me know, folks, should the Cowboys trade for Earl Thomas? Give me an A for a yes and a B for a no. I am all for it. I know Seattle would love to get a first-round pick. They're not going to. Dallas will not send that trade, or will not agree to that trade. But I think more so now than ever since, maybe till round 2 of the NFL draft, a trade seems a little bit more likely than usual. Speaking of Earl Thomas, will he come to Dallas by 2019? And I have intentionally picked that year because I think it's 3 stars more likely than not that Earl Thomas will be on the Cowboys by the start of next season. So a calendar year, Earl Thomas will be a Cowboy is my official prediction here. The trade chances do seem more likely than I've thought they've had for quite some time. And if Thomas does hit the open market, I think he goes to Dallas, and I feel pretty confident about that. Or a trade happens before that. Again, I think it's about a second-round pick that the Cowboys would trade to the Seattle Seahawks for Earl Thomas. Now, they can make it a conditional third or throw in a player or something to lessen the asking price. But in the end, I think a second-round pick makes sense. And as for free agency, I will remind everyone again, Earl Thomas's number 1 priority is to get paid. He isn't overly concerned if it's the Seahawks, the Cowboys, Texans, or whomever, but if the money is the same and he hits the open market, I think he will want to go to the Cowboys. And as for that report about the Cowboys, or about Earl Thomas selling his house, that has not happened yet. So nothing to report on that one. It's still not on the market. But again, folks, let me know if you think the Cowboys should trade for Earl Thomas. Give me an A for a yes, a B for a no. I am all for it as long as you do not give up a first-round selection. So that's the update there on the Cowboys Earl Thomas front. Here is some training camp notes. Namely, is the defense outplaying the offense? Well, 3 stars on this one as well. We're not going to panic about it yet, okay? But the reality is, based on camp so far, the defense has had the upper hand against the offense. And some good news at least for the defensive side of things. The secondary and the pass rush have looked sharp. We'll talk more about Byron Jones, but he looks very, very good as well. As for the offense, it kind of makes sense that they're going to need more time to learn and grow together. There are a lot of new pieces on offense at receiver and tight end. It's going to take time. The expectation was that the offense would start things a little bit slow, and then they'll get going a little bit after that. But as of right now, yes, the defense is outplaying the offense. Next up, will Jerry Jones stop talking about the national anthem? Well, I'll give this one the 3 stars and not quite the full 4 because it is Jerry Jones that we're talking about after all. But the NFL asked the owners, guys, please don't talk about the anthem policy, and more or less give them a gag order. And the first thing Jerry Jones does when he gets out in the public, he starts talking about the national anthem, which is just classic Jerry Jones as well. Jones said Cowboys players had to stand. The good news is Jones has kind of silenced himself there and kind of obeyed the NFL's orders of, hey, don't talk about this while we go through the potential changes to our anthem policy. Number 8, do the Cowboys need more catches from Ezekiel Elliott? I'm giving this one a 4 stars. I think they absolutely do. You lose Jason Witten, you lose Dez Bryant, and the reality is the Cowboys want Zeke on the field at almost all times, so get him the dang ball. Now, Scott Linehan has been able to get Joique Bell, Reggie Bush with Detroit, and also DeMarco Murray, 50-plus catches. He should be able to do the same with Ezekiel Elliott. And by the way, Zeke this year will be the first, second, and third option for the offense this year in the Dallas Cowboys. He is going to get absolutely fed. It's going to be a consistent thing for Zeke. He is going to get all the touches for the Cowboys. He needs to be more involved in the passing game as well, and I think he's going to have a chance to lead the NFL in rushing, but more passing game work will be the case for Ezekiel Elliott this season. We've partnered with the number 1 sportsbook, BetDSI, and demanded that you get the best offer out there, a 120% deposit bonus. Head to chatsports.com/bet, sign up and deposit using promo code Cowboys120, and they will give you a 120% deposit bonus. You put down $100, you're going to end up with $220. You do up to $500 on that deposit, and they'll match that 120% deposit bonus. That's chatsports.com/bet. Cowboys120 is your promo code to get some real cash. All right, last rumor of the day for you guys. Cole Beasley, will he be the team's number 1 wide receiver? I'll give it 2 stars. I guess it depends on how you want to define number 1 receiver. Do you mean most catches and most targets? If so, yeah, I kind of think so. If it's yards or touchdowns or overall fear that the defense has, I'm not feeling quite as confident there. So Beasley has looked sharp during training camp. Not a huge surprise there. He has the most chemistry with Dak Prescott. I mean, look at the other guys here. Hearns and Gallup and Thompson and Austin. Those guys haven't played with Dak before. And then Terrence Williams, of course, as we know, has had his own issues off the field this year with the broken foot and the arrest for public intoxication. But a very interesting move there so far for Cole. I think he'll lead the team in receptions, but I don't think he'll be the Cowboys' #1 receiver when it comes down to yards or touchdowns. But let me know in the comments section who you guys think will be the Cowboys' #1 wide receiver this year. And folks, those were today's Cowboys rumors. All right, Cowboys fans, taking it now to a new segment here on the Cowboys Report. Having played a little bit of true or false. We'll take you through some burning questions around the Cowboys. We'll get your thoughts on what's going on, what actually happened, and I'll chime in as well. So first up, true or false? The Cowboys will trade for Earl Thomas. Now, as we said earlier in the show, I'm still keeping this in the 2-star category. I think we're kind of close to around 50% right now. I would love an Earl Thomas trade to go down. He'd be a huge boost for the Cowboys at free safety. Thomas continues to hold out from the Seahawks. Dallas has a definitive interest in making a deal for Thomas, but it's not about the Cowboys right now. The trade is dependent on Seattle making a decision. So, folks, type 1 for true or type 2 for false as to whether or not the Cowboys will trade for Earl Thomas. As for myself, I will cheat and I will say true-ish, and namely because I think it is kind of close to 50%, maybe it's 45%, but if you had to make me say a definitive answer one way or the other, will Thomas be traded? As of right now, I'd lean toward yes, he will be traded to the Dallas Cowboys. All right, next up on Cowboys True or False, Rico Gathers will make the 53-man roster. Type A for true and type B for false. It's not looking great for Rico quite right now. He did get some work with the first team during a recent walkthrough, but he missed all 2017 with a head injury. The blocking and focus are still concerns, and most importantly, Rico is stuck at 4th on the Cowboys depth chart right now. That means he is behind Dalton Schultz, he is behind Jeff Swaim, and he is behind Blake Jarwin. That makes it a little bit unlikely unless the Cowboys want to go with 4 tight ends, but folks, I don't know if that's going to happen. So again, A for true, B for false. I'm typing in B. I don't think Rico will make the roster. The Cowboys are going to go heavy at quarterback. They'll take 3. They might take an extra receiver as well. And in the end, that might end up costing Rico a roster spot. And you know he might not make it to the practice squad either. All right, next up. Do you plan to gamble on football this fall? Type bet for true. Type no for false. Now, for those of you that typed in bet and do plan, I got a deal for you guys. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use promo code Cowboys120 for the best deal out there, a 120% deposit bonus when you sign up at chatsports.com/bet. You put in 100, you're going to end up with 220 there to bet and probably bet on the Cowboys as well because let's not kid ourselves here. They're going to have a good season. Again, it's chatsports.com/bet. Promo code is Cowboys120. If you have any issues at all, just DM me on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. Taking now to some more Cowboys true or false. Next up, I should say, Jason Garrett will be the Cowboys head coach in 2019. Type T for true and F for false on this one. As for Garrett, well, we know he's on the hot seat. Don't let Jerry Jones tell you otherwise, even though he was sitting right next to Jason Garrett. What's he going to say? He's on the hot seat? Of course he's not. Garrett is on the hot seat this year. It was a down year last year for the Cowboys, and most importantly, you got to have more playoff success. The Cowboys have made it just twice in Garrett's tenure with just the 1 win. It's playoffs or bust this year for Garrett, and if they do make it, he might have to win a game as well. But again, folks, T for true, F for false on if Garrett will be the Cowboys head coach in 2019. I am going with false. As I've said before, I'm not convinced the Cowboys will make the playoffs, and if that's the case, I think Garrett is on the outs. It's a very, very tough NFC. That's going to be a big hurdle for the Cowboys to clear. Next up, Ezekiel Elliott will lead the NFL in rushing yards, and I am all aboard the Zeke train this year. I'm targeting him in every fantasy draft that I'm doing. Type yes for true or type Y for true that he will, and type N for false that no he won't. I think the reality is Zeke is going to get fed a massive workload this year. He's shown up in good shape to camp, and most importantly, he has led the NFL in yards per game the last 2 years. I think he plays in all 16. I think he puts up around 1,600 yards. And in the end, he leads the NFL in rushing yards for the second time. So I'm putting down true on this one. I think he will. And I think, as I've already seen here, quite a few of you agree with me as well. Next up, to defense. Byron Jones will be the Cowboys' #1 cornerback this year. Byron has looked really good in camp so far. I have been very impressed by him. He is a natural at cornerback. So type in C for true and D for false if you don't agree. As for the secondary, I don't mean this as a knock to Cheeto or Jordan Lewis, and, well, kind of one Anthony Brown who's had some issues so far in camp. But I think that Byron Jones is the perfect fit for the Chris Richard scheme. I think Richard wants him to become the top guy, and I think that Byron Jones absolutely can be. So, folks, again, C for true, D for false. I am typing in C that, yes, Byron Jones will be the Cowboys' #1 cornerback this year. The good news is I think Cheeto will also have a very good season. Next up on Cowboys true or false, a Cowboys player will kneel during the national anthem. Now, Jerry Jones has made this very clear as to how he feels. I know some of you have as well. Type in K for true, as then yes, you think someone will kneel, or type in S for false, that they're only going to stand. I think it's been made very clear by Jerry, and I've mentioned this before as well. The Cowboys are not going to go against Jones. Jerry gets what he wants, and the Cowboys are very loyal to Jones. I think this is false. There will not be a player who kneels. Maybe a guy like Orlando Cedrick would have, but he is no longer on the roster. I think this one is false. Back to offense here, and Dak Prescott. Will he have a bounce back year? Now, I guess on one hand, it depends on how you define a bounce back year, but type in T for true and F for false. I think Dak is going to be a much better quarterback this year. The numbers might not fully show it, but his issues last year were in the second half of the year when he either A, had to deal with no Tyron Smith and a bad left tackle, and without Ezekiel Elliott. While it's true he will not have Dez Bryant and Jason Witten, I think he's going to be a better quarterback because Zeke and the offensive line are going to be much more like they were in their rookie campaign. So I am typing in T here. I think it is true. I think that Dak will have a bounce back year. He's not going to be at the Carson Wentz type numbers here in his first year, but I think it is true. Dak will have a bounce back season, even if it's not quite the same highs that maybe everyone is hoping for after what they saw in that first campaign. One last Cowboys true or false. The Cowboys will win the NFC East. Give me a 1 for a true and a 2 for a false. It's a very tough division. The Philadelphia Eagles, of course, just won the Super Bowl. The Giants are going to be a lot better. I'm not that worried about the Redskins, but they're not going to be an easy out either. So, folks, I know you guys might not like this, but I'm going with a 2 for false on this one. I think the Cowboys finished second, but I don't think they do enough to get in and win the NFC East. They'll be a borderline playoff team, but I'm not feeling super confident about the Cowboys' chances to win the NFC East this season, unless the Eagles get hit hard by injuries. Folks, today's show was brought to you by BetDSI, the internet's #1 sportsbook. Go to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code Cowboys120 for a 120% deposit bonus when you sign up. If you have any questions, hit me up on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. And until next time, we'll see you.